This episode is brought to you by Communications Training for Coffee Teams, a new Map It Forward workshop tailored to get your team communicating more confidently to improve general mental health as well as business profitability. Click the link in the show notes for further details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and today on the podcast, this is episode 1 of a 5-part series with my friend Abby Munoz from Monarch Coffee. Welcome back to the podcast, Abby.
Yay, thanks for having me. I love doing this.
I love having you on, and especially for this subject. This is I've never seen anybody in the coffee industry do what we're going to talk about in this series. And so this is really exciting, and I hope that other producers around the world pick up the signal of what you're doing, because there is a labor shortage for people on coffee farms. And so what we are talking about in this series is a really innovative internship that you are offering on Monarch Coffee Farms. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what that internship is. And as we progress through this series, we're going to cover more details about the internship that you're offering. So remind us really quickly about Monarch Coffee and where it is and what's special about it. And then we'll talk about the internship.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Monarch Coffee, we are a seed to cup farmer here on the big island of Hawaii in the, the infamous Kona coffee district, growing Gesha and Pacamara varietals. So some pretty stinking amazing, delicious coffees.
Yes.
And we do everything seed to cup right here on the farm. We have a little nursery, and we do all the processing, harvesting, milling, roasting, if that's where it's going, right?
Yeah.
So kind of a side-by-side little venture. Part of it goes, some of the crop is allocated for green coffee sales, and then part of the crop is allocated for our guests coming to the farm for farm experiences.
So it really is like I hesitate to use the word holistic. I don't know what the other word is for it, but you have people come to the farm on farm tours, and they witness what coffee production looks like. They witness the roasting. They get to experience that whole kind of Kona Coffee Farm tour experience. They get to take coffee home, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then you have a direct-to-consumer business online. So you really are covering a closed-loop business.
Yeah.
Now, you are offering an internship, and this is not the first time that you have offered this internship.
No, it's not.
Right. But we have decided to call attention to it because there's a greater global situation going on that is mirroring the same issue that you folks are having on the island of Hawaii with regards to finding labor for farms. So let's talk about the internship. What is it?
Yeah. So, right. I mean, labor shortage is short everywhere. I don't want to underplay, right? Like, it's not only coffee, and it's not only in Hawaii, although it feels like in Hawaii, it feels like we're the only ones, right? But most specifically, especially when you're a small producer like we are, it is difficult to find folks that will come and help specifically, really during harvest. Which is when we need most of the help. Most of the year, we do pretty darn well with our current team. But, sometimes it can get a little hairy. But when harvest comes, it's pretty much all hands on deck, and it's pretty difficult. And so initially, we tried to do kind of the same model that everyone else does and kind of get on the bandwagon with the circus of pickers that makes their way around the island. But what we first noticed was that, like, if they're in Ka'u, way down south, picking coffee, they're not willing to come up to Kona.
Right.
So they've picked all the farms in Ka'u. And so now I have, I can't tell my fruit when to ripen and when not to ripen. And so we tried that at first. Of course, at the very beginning, we were picking ourselves, but we can't, the 5 of us can't stay on top of it and get it all off. So we kind of fell into an internship in the past by accident. Which I think that's the theme of us here at Monarch Coffee, right? Like it's
Correct.
like reactive, right? Like,
Yep.
okay, this isn't working. What can I do better? And I think that's what we do really well is to analyze things. And when they, for us, it's more like of a gut, like, hey, this does not feel like this is the right way to be doing
Right.
it. And so um, it was approached by a group of students that were coming for a J term, looking for a project on the effects of birds and CBB and whether or not they can control the CBB population or not. And it was a whole like 12 students from the University of Miami. And out of that little tiny mini J term internship came this idea to offer a greater internship to that specific group of students. They'd already been on the farm. I knew that every year they had this opportunity, and then the summer was coming. And so we created an internship, and our first student came out of that, and it was super helpful and successful. And that's how it got started. So we've been doing them for our first student came in 2019 at the beginning of the pandemic. Go figure.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So the internship is a paid internship. And
Correct.
how many positions are there available?
This year we're opening it up to 6. In the past, we've only done 1. And this year we just really, it's been so successful for students in the past. And we realized that the need is definitely, pickers is getting harder and harder, where before we'd at least still have 6 to 10 pickers pretty consistently. And now, there's no consistency at all. So
Right.
we're opening it up to 6 interns. And yeah, it's 6 months long.
Okay. So what are some of the requirements that someone needs to have? And before you do that, tell people where the job listing is, and we'll keep repeating it on every episode of this series.
Okay. Yeah. So it's on our website, monarchcoffee.com
/jobs.
And
link in the show notes, guys.
Yeah, I figured you'd put it in the show notes. So some of the requirements, most important is like a strong desire to learn more about coffee, right? Like we are looking for people who are excited about coffee. You don't necessarily have to already be working in coffee or want to find a job in coffee. Maybe you're just a coffee enthusiast and you are looking for something else or something different. So that's number one, right? Like I just be interested in coffee, or some kind of really strong interest in sustainable agriculture. In addition to specialty coffee would be really great. An ability to work super fast pace and in an outdoor environment. We are in Hawaii, and the internship is going to run from August until January. And from August until the end of October we really only have 2 seasons in Hawaii. It's summer and winter, and then there's the hurricane season, right? And that's from August to about October. And so it's super muggy, rainy, cloudy, hot. It just all kind of compounds. So an ability to work kind of in outdoor environmental conditions that look like that, and an ability to work on uneven terrain. It's volcanic rock here. And your, slopes, coffee plants aren't in flat rows. Strong work ethic. That's a hard
Strong
word.
work ethic.
Strong work ethic. Yes.
I've got that for you. Strong work ethic.
Yeah. And a willingness to learn, right? Like I don't expect anyone to know anything about this, right? I didn't know anything when I came into coffee. And we all are learning, and we're all learning from each other, right?
Yeah.
And so
just to let you know, folks, when she says that, that was years ago. She's very, very knowledgeable about coffee now.
But I have more to learn.
Absolutely. But I don't want people to think like, oh, we're going to come and hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and all learn about coffee together. She's super knowledgeable. Just so that.
Yeah. It's not Girl Scout camp.
No, right.
Yeah. And then really most important is being able to commit to the duration of the internship, which is August 1st to February 1st. So all the way through the end of January.
Perfect. So again, folks, head to the show notes and click on the link. Read the whole job description. And the application requires you to read the whole description before you apply, because if you don't follow the instructions correctly, your application won't even be read. Okay, so there are very clear instructions in there. Please read it. Please make sure that you understand how this works.
And it's all about attention to detail.
100%.
Right? Whether you're being a producer or you're a coffee roaster or you're a barista, that is
all attention to detail.
What's the difference with specialty coffee? And the difference is the attention to detail.
Yep.
Right.
And we're not talking about commodity grade coffee here. We're talking about high-end specialty Gesha and Pacamara. So this is coffee that sells expensive. It's coffee that is every kind of care is taken with all of these cherries so that you process them in the most beautiful way. I've had this coffee many times. It is delicious. I've given it to clients of mine. They all think it's delicious. Full disclosure, Monarch Coffee is a client of mine. The reason that we're having this conversation is not just because Monarch is a client of mine, but because this is not a unique problem to Monarch. This is a problem that is being experienced by producers all over the world. And we are going to talk about that in the next episode. Thanks for telling us about the internship, Abby. Now we'll see you in the next episode, folks. Peace off peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, friends. There are 2 ways you can support this podcast. Firstly, become a paid member of our YouTube channel. Secondly, you can join our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before you leave, and check the show notes for more information. Now, this is what you should check out next.